Here we go, counting down in
God.
5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. Mr. Pablo Nouvelle, welcome to CamTalks.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm very well, thank you, sir. How about yourself?
I'm marvelous.
Look at this, trust this. Bring a bloody musician into the room and he starts fiddling with your levels whilst you're introducing him. No, that's absolutely fine. Is it okay now?
Right, no, it's still super loud.
Still super
Why
loud.
are we taking the same out? Why can't I not have my own
Do you know
volume
what?
here?
It ain't as fancy as your setup, Fabio. It really is. I say Fabio. We're going to get
Yes.
into that because there's a poster behind you that says Pablo.
Yes.
And your name is Fabio.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to kind of get into that. But before we do, why don't you give us a brief introduction? Go on, give us your life story in 30 seconds.
My name is Pablo Nouvelle. I'm a musician, producer, artist. I compose music. Most of the time I'm awake.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not doing the many other creative things that I've seen you do, you do actually do phenomenal music. It's quite annoying, actually. You're a very talented guy, so thank you very much for giving us the time to be here.
Thank you.
And I guess the only reason why I was lucky enough to get you on the show is because, well, you have to be here because you used to live with me.
Yeah.
And
Plus minus. I mean, used is plus minus. I definitely did live with you. I still feel like I live with you.
always
a bit,
in your head.
yeah,
Do you listen
yeah.
to the Cam Talk show?
I do actually.
You do, yeah. You're not
Yeah.
lying to me now, are
Nah,
you? You know,
I did sometimes a little bit.
you did a little
My
bit.
chair is squeaking.
I like it. What do you think of the show? Like, as an audio person, as someone that's interested in creativity, what do you think?
I think the name fits it perfectly. CamTalks.
I do just talk.
Yeah, right.
That's it. But I
Right.
try and let my guests talk as much as I can.
Sure.
So
Right.
please feel free to just shut me up if this conversation.
I
is
will
boring you.
try.
So listen, Mr. Pablo, I used to live here at the warehouse. I first moved here 6 months ago. I moved from my lovely little place in Richmond to a warehouse living with 20 people. What first got you into the warehouse living in London?
I moved to London a year ago, actually, a year and a day ago. And I knew I want to end up in a warehouse because of a friend who lived in a warehouse. A Swiss friend who was here before. That's how I got to know that there is a warehouse scene, that is actually a thing.
It exists.
Yeah, right. And that's how I got into that Facebook group that then, made me end up
Well,
here.
because it's exclusive, right? Like, you can't find this shit on Rightmove or, online in any sort of legitimate sense.
Not as much as on Facebook.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, Facebook is literally like now the marketplace for warehouse living.
Yeah.
But what was it that kind of attracted you? Was it because you came and visited a friend, or did you kind of think you just wanted to be around more people?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I always lived like in a social surrounding and spend a lot of time alone in my studio. So if I go home, I wanna have like friends and people around and chat and eat together. And also, if you move to a new city, to a big ass city like London, it's hard to get to know people, and that's the best way to get yourself a family.
Absolutely, man. And I think, so you're from Switzerland originally?
Yes.
And whereabouts in Switzerland are you from?
Originally from Burgdorf.
I mean, don't worry about it. No one has a clue about Switzerland, mate. Like,
I'm not sure. No, now I'm living in Zurich since 2015.
Is Zurich fun?
Yes,
Is it full
A
of
lot.
diamonds?
as well, but that's on the other side of the river. There's like two sides of. It's actually two rivers, and on the right side of the right river, it's fun.
Interesting. I've been to Switzerland twice now. I went to Zug,
Yeah.
which was soul destroying. I mean,
That's not part of Switzerland. So
all they literally had was pretzels everywhere. I can't believe the amount of pretzels, and they're not even good pretzels. Like,
Pretzelkönig, you mean? The butter bretzel is actually pretty good. If you're on a hangover and you have a butter bretzel, it's good.
I just found it shocking that they put in like ham and like salad
Yes.
in a pretzel.
Yes, very shocking.
Like I would love a pretzel covered in cinnamon sugar or just like something.
There are sweet ones by now.
Yeah, but
Chocolate
you have to
pretzel,
find them,
that's
man.
bad.
You know, most of these pretzel stands just give you like a sandwich and like a weird pretzel-y
There's
thing.
actually only one thing. There's only Brezelkönig, and the rest of Bretzel is Germany.
And the way that you guys talk, I find it really romantic. Like
Romantic?
yeah, because I don't understand a single word that you say in Switzerland. I mean, like, what are you
Oh yeah,
even
that's
talking?
very romantic.
No, it's nice, like wooing.
So
me. It's
romantic, I
like-
can't understand a
So,
word.
at risk of putting a whole nation of Switzerland off by me trying to
Mm-hmm.
do an impression of the multiple languages,
Yes,
what
please.
languages do they speak in Switzerland?
Four
Four.
languages. Yeah.
So selfish. Go on,
We
list them
got
off.
French, Italian, Swiss German, and Romansch.
And which ones do you know?
Only French and German.
There you go. See, so you're a foreigner in your own country in places.
Not a foreigner, no.
No, you just can't understand them.
What? You know, there is the language of the body and the heart and the cuisine.
But
That's
listen,
language
your
too.
English is phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
I mean, like you kind of, you take it for granted when you grow up in the UK and you learn English as your I say first language. My only language is English.
Yeah.
But I find it really amazing how you kind of come to the UK. You've set up out of nothing, I guess, right? And well, maybe are you a trust fund baby? Have you had it all before? Because there's something I noticed about you the first time I met you, Mr. Pablo, and that is that you're incredibly talented, not just across music, but also film as well. Which we're going to hold on that topic for a second, because I want my audience to stay with us towards the end of this podcast. Stay with us, folks. Yes. Today is going to be a very good podcast.
Coming up next.
So listen, tell us a little bit more about music. What is it that inspires you about music?
Oh, that's a very general question.
Is it?
Yeah. What is it? I don't even know
okay,
what it means.
Let me rephrase that then.
Yeah, please.
Why is it that when I listen to your music on Spotify, there's almost like two sides to you? There's like a light side and a dark side, and there's like a collaborative side, and there's like an individual side. And so the real question is that where does the inspiration for music come from for both sides?
I think it's a daily basis thing, because I go to the studio every day and I work there for 8 hours a day, and I do that for 10 years now. And if you do that, you know your tricks and you know your go-tos, and with the collaborations you have like a vis-a-vis who inspires you, who gives you inputs that brings you to points you wouldn't get yourself. It's really just being on it every day.
But seriously, like your music is phenomenal, and obviously it comes from a place of experience. No, thank you very much for opening up my ears to a new world, because I don't know, well, how would you define your music? Do you think there's a genre to it?
It's really hard. It's really hard to put a genre to it. It's electronic, soulful, melancholic dance music.
Is there a billboard for that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, you'll be number one.
Yes,
but it's amazing, because obviously I think in recent years, like maybe the last decade, we've had this whole world of content and streaming services that kind of like given us everything we want to go and listen to. And so it's great because obviously you're on Spotify, and so when I'm listening to you on Spotify, I also find other musicians that sound similar to you. And I found that there's like a new genre of music, which is kind of like work music for me. It's like when I'm working, I'll put on your music because I know it's not going to like fuck me up too much.
Yeah.
But it's not going to like make me all like, oh, this is boring and stuff. It kind of just like, it feels like an inner sort of drive. Does that make sense? The vibe
I think it really depends on the release as well. If you have like piano pieces, obviously you can work, love, and sleep to it. Whilst other songs with lyrics and like more traditional songs with like an A B C beat structure with the singer, it's maybe less tempting to work to.
I mean, you're talking technical now, mate. Like, I understand storytelling. I understand the A story, the B story, the C story. I mean, how is it you go about making a track? From start to finish. What do you start with? Start tapping your foot?
No, if I go to sessions, I try to have little bits and pieces. I often work with samples. I always did, but nowadays it's much easier with, for example, Splice. It's just like a data bank with samples that get updated every day, curated very well, like all the artists contributing to that. So it's like, for me, I see like making music as doing collages of sounds, be it samples or be it stuff I play myself. But since Splice or other like similar, data banks of music. It just
databases.
It
sounds like you're a massive thief, mate. It sounds like you're just taking everyone else's work and making it even better.
Sometimes not.
Does it ever go wrong though? Do you ever kind of like listen to something at the end of the day and you're just like, you know what, fucking bin that?
Yeah.
Is there a graveyard of all of your old songs out there, some that we can all listen to?
No, that's well hidden.
That's well hidden.
Yeah.
But I like it. So, can you actually play any instruments, or are you
Yeah.
producers these days just stealing other people's instrumentals?
No. I play keys.
Keys like a
The
piano.
no, yeah, piano, yeah.
I've seen these things. So these are like little boxes that are like a few piano keys. It looks like a piano and some sort of synthesizer.
Yeah,
Is that right?
synthesizer.
And
Yeah,
you plug it into your laptop,
yeah,
and then you just start banging away, and next thing you know, you have something beautiful.
exactly.
What would Mozart say if he could see that all of his, amazing kind of work is now being easily produced in one individual?
I'm not too familiar with him personally, but I feel like classical music is still in many ways unreached of how it's done and the level of that of those musicians and composers like hundreds of years ago. That's a complete different story.
Completely different story. But this is so lovely, isn't it? Is that like now we live in this age where not only do we have the inspiration of the past and we get to kind of figure out what sounds good and bad, but now we get to add to it, which is kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Collages.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so did you like learn this from an early age, or like, I mean, how old were you? Because I still remember dial-up internet, man. You remember the whole
Yeah.
yeah. Do you mind if I ask how old you are? Is that like a weird
I
question?
don't mind. 33.
33.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't look an age over 2.
Thank you. How kind of you.
So what age was it that you kind of first started playing instruments then?
As a kid, really. I don't know, 7 or so.
And what was it like? Did your parents leave like over like guitar hanging
They,
around?
no,
and-
you know, I'm not from a very musical family, but they forced me to learn an instrument, so I played the flute for like 3 years or so.
Wow, the
I could
flute.
play like.
Interesting.
But I got very interested in it, and there was a piano standing around at our house, and I just started playing that piano for myself because I like could read notes and had like a sense of like just improvising and going for it. So I started like playing the songs my teacher played at school when I was in the 3rd grade or so. And then I changed the piano, and luckily I got to a teacher who was teaching jazz and not classical music. So it was all about, these are your 4 chords, this is like the lead melody, and then here you got 16 bars to improvise over those chords you have constantly to change. Then you have to go back into the lead part, like the chorus, where you might have different chords, but you like improvise in the tonality that is given, and so it got a very like free understanding of music and how you actually put yourself in there instead of only just like playing notes, and that was essential for me to
like how to be
get in that
original.
world. Yeah,
So you learned how to be original at quite an early age then.
yeah,
I mean, you were Swiss educated, right?
yeah.
What are the schools like in Switzerland? I don't know if you've noticed, but the UK schools are. I mean, let's just say that they intend to move you out of the schools as quickly as possible. What's it like going to school in Switzerland?
Good, actually, really good. I had a good time at school. Yeah, I spent a lot of time there.
Yeah. Was there any teachers in particular that you had that kind of motivated you, inspired you, saw something in you?
No, they're not like personalities I
Oh,
could
God.
point
No
out.
shout outs to
No,
the teachers
no,
then.
no,
Sorry,
no.
guys. Sorry. Well, but then, so later on, you got a little bit older, and obviously you have these inspirational thoughts. What are the genres that really inspire you? Like, because I mean, a lot of your music sounds grimy.
Grimy,
Well, it's like not grimy. I don't know how to explain it.
but
It's
hip
like,
hop.
yeah, it's got like
it
a
was
hip hop beat.
actually. Yeah, I was a hip hop kid, but like 14, I did like Swiss German rap, and yeah,
What is Swiss German rap?
it's actually big in Swiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I produced a hip hop album over the last 2 years. Came out a month ago, and we went on #1 on the Swiss charts, album charts.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
And is that the type of music that you want to produce, or are you producing it?
It's I wouldn't do it, but I want to do it.
Oh, your parents are still forcing you to make this music. They're like,
Yeah,
come on.
my hip hop parents forced me to do this.
That's it. They're just
That
shaming.
graffiti I did, my parents forced me to do it.
Well, no, but it sounds like your parents did the right thing by encouraging you to pick up an instrument. I don't think my parents ever really wanted to encourage me to bang on drums or play guitars. I think I was probably a bit too noisy as a kid.
Yeah, but I think it's so important to like, if you got a kid to just push it in every way possible, especially in the creative ways, be it whatever, be it music or painting or whatever. I think that's really important to wire a kid's brain in a direction someone can grow up being happy with himself.
But it sounds like you need a lot of freedom, right? You know, it's like kids need freedom, you know. And there was a book I read a long time ago now, but talks about how you shouldn't bother kids when they're skateboarding, because that's the time when they learn the most about themselves, their limits, their confidence. And it kind of seems similar. It's almost like if your parents had disrupted your creativity, then you would never know what it felt like to step out there and on your own. God, that's philosophical.
I agree. No,
You
I
yeah?
totally agree. Yeah. I think if I ever have kids, I want to have them growing up in an environment that's just like challenging their potential in every way. Yeah.
And so your parents are still in Switzerland? Yeah. So I mean Switzerland's now your home again.
Almost. Yeah, next weekend.
Well, look, you moved out of the warehouse a month ago?
Yeah,
about a month ago, and then you're already back.
Yeah,
We got him back in the warehouse,
it's a family. I really love it here, and it's good to see you all again.
Well, we've always got a place for you to stay, mate, in London. And so where else are you travelling at the moment? Because I know you travel around quite a lot, and I mean, this is just one of your many pit stops, right?
Yeah, I've been to Amsterdam for writing sessions 2 weeks ago. But besides that, I try to actually enjoy now, as I'm going back after tomorrow, just be in Switzerland for a few months, because I haven't done that for years, probably. So being at home, not having booked a train or a flight somewhere to go next is good. Not only for the environment, but also for
your
inner being.
Your chara, your cha-cha-cha, your cha-cha-cha.
And I really just want to go out a lot to the mountains.
Wow. Are you spiritual?
Oh. It's interesting that you say that's the question, right? I just want to go to the mountains. Not snowboarding, mountain biking, have a good time, have some time off. But it actually, because I've been thinking about this a lot, somehow nature becomes a religion for our generation in a way, as we are detached from traditional religions. Yeah. I at least get very like humble in the face of nature, especially if I'm in the Alps and I'm just that small and the mountains are this big and I'm here for a second. They've been here for thousands of years, not caring. And if you're that small in regard to that universe, your problems get really small as well.
Interesting. So that's why I keep seeing photos of you on the top of peaks of mountains and stuff like that.
And it's just beautiful as well.
And are you recording anything when you're out, or are you listening to music, or what are you gaining apart from a little bit of peace?
That's a lot.
Oh, sorry. That's what the whole point is about, peace and quiet, right?
Yeah, I'm really working a lot on recording every day, and I'm working on the way there and afterwards, and on Sundays and Saturdays, and I try to do less actually, and get away more.
I like it, and of course, all of this peace and quiet allows you to get into that studio, put your headphones on, and really just kind of work, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the struggle right now, man? Because your music's fantastic. You've got hundreds of thousands of listens and streams and all that sort of stuff. What's kind of holding you back right now?
Is there something holding me back?
I don't know. Is there?
I'm ready.
Is there not? I mean, because I don't know what is the path for a producer like yourself who came out of the bedroom, went onto the stages, got onto the billboards. And then isn't that it? Like, do you retire now? I mean, what's your next step?
No, I hope this is only the start. I wrote so much music over the last year, and I'm sitting on that mountain again of music that I want to release now. And to be honest, I enjoy writing music much more than actually having the whole hustle around it to like get artworks, get a release plan. Get a label. Do you actually need a label? If not, how are you going to do yourself? Do promo, be creative with the story you wrap around it. You need to do all that yourself as well. Well, I do at least, to make something like honest and authentic.
But it shows, because all of your artwork, all of your music videos, everything that you put out there to the world has your Pablo stamp on it. which is it's just amazing, man. It's
Mm.
really, really good. So do you have a team around you?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes,
Yeah,
I do. It keeps on changing as well, but I have like a few person on the creative side, a few friends that are very close that I continuously work with, and then the business side as well. Yeah, management, label.
So I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces, and you're
Mm,
only just one of them. But
mm.
has it taken a lot to kind of understand the industry in its entirety?
To be honest, I'm not sure if anyone understands the industry.
Even the industry don't understand the
Really
industry.
doesn't. Yeah. When I started to come to the UK for industry reasons, because I wanted to like break out of Switzerland, and obviously London is the place to be. I met so many people who were like, "Man, this is Wild Wild West now. We don't know what's happening because it was before the streaming era, just right before, so everything was just pirating, and even nowadays I feel no one really knows how it's done,
Mm.
but that's also liberating in a way.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and it seems like the old school days were like very much like the money men. The labels were like the gatekeepers to selling
exactly. Yeah,
people
yeah,
CDs, and now
yeah.
it's like you could literally get your music out there right now, for free. Or I mean, how does that even work? Because like with Spotify, I mean, I pay the subscription to Spotify,
Mm.
but then did they pay like the people that every listen that I listen to? Does that give you some money?
Yeah.
So you owe no, you don't owe me. I've
No, I
given.
owe you
I've
£5 for all your hundreds of plays you did.
Hundreds of plays.
Yeah,
This is
it's
it.
literally like 0.0000 something on Spotify.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you have
it's
to get. I
nothing.
mean, how many set listens do you have to get in order to actually make a good amount of money?
I think you say 1,000,000 plays is worth £4,000.
Is that it?
Yeah,
So you get 1 million people to listen to your
and
song.
that's the total, right? Then comes in the label and the publisher, the collab. So you divide that £4,000 by all those different people.
So let's say the label gets what is how much does the label get? 50%.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. And then your collaborator, it's no what 20, 25%.
No, if we go to the studio together and we write a song from scratch together, even if we don't write it from scratch, but if we're together in the studio, it's 50-50.
That's fair enough. So then there's
Yeah.
25% left for you and 25% left for the other. But oh no, maybe 10% for some other people to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
20% now that you have out of $4,000, which I'm terrible at maths.
Yeah,
but
you already lost me there. I'm not sure because the label gets 50% from my side. No, from the whole side because they got
Wow.
mechanical rights. There are
Mhm.
mechanical rights and there are the other rights of like
Whoa. What the hell's a mechanical right, man? That sounds like you've got my car in a garage right now.
a mechanical right is the actual right at the it used to be the CD or whatever is the actual physical audio and not what's the word, not spiritual right, but the right you
Like
got
the intellectual property,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like
exactly.
the physical.
yeah, you
Okay.
keep that, but the mechanical right you give that to the label.
Interesting. So how much kind of like freedom do you get then to collaborate with whoever you want? I mean, are your label, are they encouraging of anything you want to do? Are they just like, look, go out and do whatever you want, mate?
A bit of both. In general, I have to look for myself, but like 2 weeks ago when I was in Amsterdam, because my label is in Amsterdam, they set me up, provided a studio, and set me up with different people to work with.
Amazing. And like, I mean, obviously with the internet being how it is these days, I'm sure you're listening to a lot of like people that you then go and collaborate with. And so what are you kind of looking for in someone to collaborate with? Is it, you looking for vocalists? Are you looking for other producers? Like, I mean, because I assume that with your little synthy keyboardy thing, that pretty much means that you can put any instrument in there.
Yeah.
And so it becomes really much, it's so open now. It's not like filmmaking where we have to go out and like find a cast, write a script, find locations. You could literally just create whatever you want then and there. So you're looking for people who are different to you, or
Yeah, whatever, actually. As long as it touches me in a way. If I hear something and then it like speaks to me, then I want to collaborate.
hallelujah, you
Yeah.
feel it, you feel it. I like that.
I
man.
used to work only with singers, but lately I work with a lot of other producers and find it really inspiring to actually have that vibe together and to like, it's just a lot of fun.
And of course, see their process as well.
Yeah,
Because if you saw my process in singing, I mean, I'm not a great singer, but I know you can do magical stuff with that thing. We'd have a great time making a record together, man.
Right.
I think we should do it.
Yeah.
I think we should do it. Well, I mean, I
Probably
I bet you if you recorded me now singing, I bet you in 20 minutes you'd make a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Because I've heard I've got quite a bellowy voice. It's like bellow.
Ooh.
It's quite a bassy voice.
Yeah.
Well, it's a male's voice,
Impressive.
right? Anyway, moving swiftly on. I've got a couple of collaborators that I would love to put you in touch with. You know, obviously being UK based means nothing apart from the fact that I'm in the UK. But I've got a few friends who are also producers, and they're putting out music like yourself, and they're taking the same steps but different. You know, what I've noticed for you, Pablo, is / Fabio, you'll always be Fabio to me, but for all intents and purposes, Pablo, your way of doing things is incredibly different to other producers that I know who kind of want to do it all themselves. Like, you collaborate a huge amount, not just with the musicians, but also on the videos, right? You know, you've got a video producer, right? The other projects that you've done, it seems to be that you're this mastermind who can kind of control a group of people's incentives to come in and make something beautiful. So, I mean, first of all, how do you kind of go about getting people to join your team? You know, I mean, you're a lovely guy and everything, but like, are you paying them money? Like, what are you
actually
doing?
Pay them.
No, but seriously, because a lot of these people that you work with are insanely talented, and seems like they'll just drop everything to come and work with you. So what's the secret?
It's mainly people I've got to know over the years. We like study together or share like a year-long friendship, or just, and then you get like a similar vision of like, I'm loving their work and they like what I do, and then you want to feed into that same vision.
So what can I do for you then? What can I do for you, Mr. Pablo?
What about a podcast?
What about a podcast? Jeez, it's not another podcast. No.
Right.
But this is it. So I actually, the first time we ever met, I remember being like, oh yeah, hey man, I'm Cam, I'm a filmmaker. And you're like, oh yeah, I've done some film stuff.
You said I'm a vlogger.
I did say I was a vlogger.
I'm a vlogger, and I went viral.
Wow, this is the thing, is that like I had a minor bit of success that put the thought into my head that maybe I could one day be making vlogs all the time about things I loved. But when I first met you, I was very much like, oh, let me show you my work, and I showed you a bit of my work, and then you're like, yeah, I've done a bit of filming stuff, yeah, made this animation last year, won a couple of awards, but let me just show it to you. And I watched the most insanely amazing animation that I've never before seen in my life. And it was a staff pick on Vimeo, right? It had won all these awards. And I was like, oh, so who's Pablo? It says directed by Pablo. You're like, that's me. I was like,
Pablo.
God damn it.
That was actually Pablo.
And then you put like your other name later on down the credit list. And I'm like, oh, there you are. And I was congratulating you on doing like the music. I was like, good music, man. He's like, no, I directed that. I'm like, no, but Pablo directed. He's like, I am Pablo.
Yeah.
So it pays to have this, what do you call it? It's like a nickname, or like your stage name?
It's an artist name, yeah.
An artist name.
Yeah.
Why Pablo? Why Nouvelle? What's Pablo Nouvelle about?
The Pablo, that's a name that just found me. It still does, actually. So often I just get called Pablo from people they don't know I do music under that name. Wow. They got my name wrong, they don't hear it right, or just random old drunken lady in a pub comes up and says, Pablo, I just gonna call you Pablo.
Wow.
So do you want another drink or whatever? I don't know what it was about, but that happens often. People just call me Pablo.
Wow.
And originally it was actually a friend of my parents who couldn't remember my name and always called me Pablo. He was probably the first guy, so my brother took up on this and started to call me Pablo.
It's got nothing to do with Pablo Escobar, a gangster man.
No, forget about him.
And then what about the second part, Nouvelle? What does that mean?
I just really like it. That's the honest.
I'm gonna change my name now. That's it.
That's the honest version. I really like it. It's always fresh. Nouvelle means fresh in French. So it's always like new. You know, like, yeah. And the story I wrapped around it when I first came up with it and had my first album out and thought I need like a story to tell, it was what was it again?
What was the
I got it.
foundational
I
story?
actually spent a year trying to become an architect, and
Interesting.
failed
Wow.
spectacularly.
Well, you didn't fail. You just found out what you really wanted to do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you're still an architect. You're just now
Yes,
an architect of music. I love
Oh my
that.
gosh. And there's a famous architect in Switzerland called Jean Nouvel. He writes his name differently. I only found out later.
Good. Yeah. So
Doesn't
you
matter.
don't owe him anything.
Yeah, right. So it's a homage to him, but it's also a homage to. I then went to film school, and we learned about the Nouvelle Vague films from France. Very stylish, black and white, like Au bout de souffle and some other films. And that's like a very like cool world. I was like, yeah.
Wow. So you do take a lot of inspiration from film. I mean, that seems to be quite an apparent thing in your life.
You want the honest answer
Yeah.
again? Or not at all. No, I hardly watch any films. I have no clue about films. It's horrible.
Wow.
I
you
just
son of a
never,
bitch.
I never take the time to actually go into films. It's that and not really know how to cook. That makes me a bad human being. I'll
Yeah.
work on it. It's
You-
just a lack of cultural knowledge, I feel.
But there's then the music then. So the music moves you emotionally and allows you to. I mean, for me, stories move me emotionally. So I make films because I want to tell stories. Whereas, I mean, are you being moved like in the same way? Like, so, are you trying to make a story when you're making music, or are you just trying to make a feeling?
I've been actually very moved by movies. I don't know anyone who cries as much as I do in movies.
Oh no way!
Really?
What's the movies that you cry the most about? Yeah, the I mean, you must have seen The Notebook and Titanic. I mean, Titanic's not
I've
that.
seen Titanic.
You've seen Titanic.
I'm a
What makes you cry, Pablo?
I'm a happy event crier. You know, if success happens, if a big thing happens, that makes me cry.
Ooh,
Not the sad
overcoming
things,
adversity.
like the big thing.
I
Yeah.
like it. There's an amazing new Netflix film called Dolomite Is My Name, with Eddie Murphy and a few other of the great American comedian actors, and it's all about this true story about this comedian singer in the 1960s who tries everything to get his music heard. And to get himself on stage, and it's a real uplifting, heartwarming story, But you should definitely go watch it because when you see what artists have to do in order to make it, you see mostly when we see it on TV or we listen to it, we see like the final kind of the final product. What we don't see is all that the rejection and the failures before.
That's why I love Losers so much.
You love Losers?
Losers is the
Is that
best
why you're
show
hanging
I've
out with me?
ever
Oh, no.
seen. No, the show.
The show.
No, I like Losers. I obviously don't like Losers.
You piece of shit.
No, I'm talking about the show.
I've never seen it.
You got to see it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
Wow.
It actually tells the story about what's behind, about people who are not number one, but maybe number two or number 37 or whatever, and what they made out of their life.
Interesting. I'm gonna go check it out
stories.
for sure.
Yeah,
well, look,
absolutely.
give me some advice, man, because you just said you don't watch a lot of movies, but it seems like you're an absolute magician when it comes to making anything with visual images. So, as a filmmaker, like, how can I use music more, or where does it come from? Where does that idea for you come from?
Which idea again?
I mean, any idea, mate. Like, Jesus. Well, we're talking about inspiration here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any answer to that inspiration thing. I just do.
You just do.
I just make as much as possible and shoot in one direction. And if it feels right, I go further. If it feels wrong, I go in another direction.
I love it. Well, I mean, I'm already going to move on to my next subject now because quite clearly, you're a son of a bitch who's just talented in all directions.
I'm not sure how much I like that talented thing, because I look at me as hardworking.
Ooh.
Someone who is just talented is kind of like, oh yeah, he just got it, It's like, but I'm fucking doing it every day, from the early morning till the night time, with a lot of passion. Obviously, there's talent as well, but just calling someone just talented is actually an insult. I feel.
I'm
I don't
so
feel.
sorry.
I don't
I feel really
insulted
bad
but
now.
just-
It's just
no,
like,
it's
I'm
just
so
it's more.
sorry.
No, it's more philosophical.
Yeah.
Philosophical. What's that word?
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I mean, it's true.
It's
Do
an
you think
interesting
that
thought. Like it needs more than just talent.
people
right?
probably take it for granted when they see the final product that they assume that the person is just talented?
Right.
But you work incredibly hard all the time, right? So what's stopping you from giving up?
I never thought about giving up
Ever?
music.
Yeah, I mean, look, because it couldn't have always been. I mean, so obviously you're making a bit of money now with it, but when you were just making absolutely nothing, no one was listening to your
Yeah.
songs. I mean, that's when people start wondering, what have I got to do in order to get a bloody break round here?
Yeah. If something, then the industry. When I tried to come to the UK for years, tried to like meet up with people who wouldn't pay, or the people I tried to work with weren't really serious about it, and I really didn't see it going anywhere. That was quite frustrating. But that was not about the art. That was more about the question: is this something I'm gonna pursue as a job?
But rejection's important, right? I mean, I feel like, anyone that's really tried to build something in their career, they're going to feel a lot of rejection. How does it feel now that you've got, an amazing fan base, you're playing shows, you're collaborating with amazing people? Do you look back at any particular moments of rejection and kind of be like,
There's still a lot of rejection.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm still far from being able to work with everyone I'd love to.
interesting.
Yeah.
So Jay-Z has literally turned you away like a million times.
Literally, yeah.
I mean, how would you even get in touch with these people? You want to pop up on their radar, innit? That's what they want. They're like,
Jay-Z.
don't insult
why
Jay-Z
not?
on
Yeah,
my
I
show.
didn't.
all
I
right?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
No, but it is amazing,
about
man.
it.
Like, you're an incredibly hard worker, and you're a massive inspiration to me. And I moved into this warehouse for similar reasons for yourself, to be around more inspirational people.
Right,
And
yeah.
when I met someone like you who was just so relaxed about like what you do, I just kind of stopped being so. Yeah, I just stopped caring too much about what other people are thinking about what I'm working on and stuff, and just start living it. I have to say that your piano music has been a lot more inspirational to me whilst writing scripts than anything. I don't listen to anything else but your piano music.
Wow.
So
you.
maybe these films will have a little bit of a credit
Yes.
at the very, very last bottom, in the bottom corner, that says
Pablo Nouvelle piano pieces.
Fabio Pablo.
Pablo.
Who knows, man?
Nice, thank
Who
you.
knows?
That means a lot to me.
It's true, and I really do hope that we can collaborate on something in the future. I'm definitely going in the direction of sort of narrative films, web series, kind of stuff like that. So I'd love it if I could use all of your music license free for the rest of my life. In fact, we'll just write this down now.
Exactly.
I
Hello,
Pablo.
my publisher. How are you doing?
Yeah, this is exclusive, by the way. This overwrites any deal you have with a label, But no, I mean, I really appreciate it, because you have given me, some
Don't
some
say
music
it,
to
yeah.
use, and
Yeah, just don't say it.
if you ever need a camera guy
Right.
or a podcast,
A camera guy.
yeah, what would you do on a podcast show? Like, what would your podcast be about?
Ooh, that's a good question. Not about music. The
Oh,
podcasts I know about music are really boring.
mm.
I'm a big fan of Beyond Today.
Okay. What's that?
That's a BBC podcast. They have like one big question a day, and it's like 20 minutes. They just like have what happens in the world, but like dig a bit deeper on that one question, and it's
Interesting.
just super well done. Super.
That's a great idea, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
short
Yeah.
form podcasts. I've had a few commenters, a few people who have taken the time out of their day, and I thank them very much for it, because they go, Cam, 2 hours is too long.
Yeah. They're probably right.
Yeah, they're probably right, but I really value the video, the micro content, because I although I love the fact that people can listen to these podcasts on the go and everything, I also like the fact that people are forever scrolling through Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff. And actually, if this conversation lasts 10 hours, if it gets one little 1 to 2 minute piece of video that inspires someone, then that's it. Like, I'm happy with that.
Right.
So, sorry, listeners, you're going to have to endure a lot more of this. But hey, there's plenty of other podcasts out there. You can go listen to some short form podcasts, and damn it, now my listeners are going down. There, I can feel them actually just
Stop it,
turning off
change
their
subject.
phone right now. Well, let's change the subject then. Background, music, film, Brexit. I don't know why I wrote Brexit down on
me
my
neither.
notes. You know, I mean, let's touch on it briefly because you know you're from a Switzerland is not part of the EU. Do you give a shit at all about UK politics?
I did more than most of the people I met here whilst I live here. I felt.
I think about to say most than Switzerland because they don't give a shit.
No, people here actually, because when I got here a year ago, UK people were already so fed up with that subject that it was like hardly possible to talk to anyone who would like actually care. And I went through phases that meant I'll be ending up on a similar stage by now because it's such a absurd theater. Yeah, it's entertaining, but it's also
massively
very
entertaining. It's like back in the Roman days when we used to have like Caesar, you know, and we love to put people on pedestals, you know, and I think this is a making of our own making because it's like we British. I mean, tell me what do you think about British people? Yeah, like what is it about us that stand out, different from all the other nations in the world?
Nothing, really nothing. That's why you should stop with that Brexit thing.
Well, is this because you're in the UK right now and like, because honestly, like I feel like British culture, Britishness is just very different to a lot of European, like particularly like Scandinavian countries where I don't know. I feel like everyone cares a bit more for each other.
The British.
No, the British don't give a crap about each other, man.
Oh, right.
We're like a savage dogs over here. We just like fight.
It's very hard and dangerous to have like general, sayings about how people are within a country.
Mate,
very.
I'm not generalist, mate. Honestly, I hate everyone equally. Like that's the number one thing to realize here.
Good.
But it's interesting because I feel like politics in the UK is like Punch and Judy. Like we see it all the time on the news and we talk about it all the time. But what's the Swiss politics like? Because I've heard you guys vote like 4 times a year on like, shall we move this tree to the other side of the garden?
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah. We have a direct democracy, so if you get...
Oh, that just sounds amazing.
Yeah, right. You have to get, I don't even know, 100,000, 250,000 subscribers. What's this? So you
like
got
votes.
an idea, yeah, votes. Like, but you have to get them in the street. So your idea is, I don't know, you want to... What can you do?
Take over the world.
That's a bit.
Move the tree.
Move the tree. Yeah, let's stick to the trees. You want to move a tree in the middle of the street of the main road, for example. So, and if you get like 100,000 actual subscribers for your idea, you can place that at the main office at the Bundeshaus, and then people have to vote about it.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. That really is a direct democracy.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a similar thing, but our petitions don't really go anywhere. Like, we petition to get, if it gets 100,000 signatures, then it gets spoken about by the politicians.
Right.
And of course, that just fizzles into nothing, of course.
Yes.
But I really do respect the Swiss because, throughout all of our turmoil with the whole Brexit stuff, the Swiss ain't never been in the EU. So part of me is wondering whether we'll just get an increase of pretzels as we swiftly exit the EU.
If you'd ever get out, yeah.
If we ever get out, I think you'll be old and grey by the time we.
Also, what I got
that.
to say is, I've been in London and not in the UK, right? I mean, this here is like a global village of people from all over the world, like a bit proving how interesting a global world could be that is open with like open borders and a fair exchange of cultures and like being fruitful, whilst the rest of England has its own identity and is very detached from London, which is obviously also a big problem.
Yeah, have you been to anywhere else in the UK? Manchester, Liverpool,
I've
Birmingham.
been in the countryside. Lakeside district.
Oh, the Lake District.
Lake
Yeah,
District.
lovely. I mean, that's a beautiful place.
Yeah,
Very,
absolutely.
very peaceful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lots of sheep.
Yeah.
And just peaceful stuff.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Been to Scotland and yeah.
Wow. So would you say you're attracted to like major cities, like with this cosmopolitan feel, more so than the sticks?
For work, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
But you're living in Zurich right now. So like, what's Zurich like? Is it?
It's a similar thing. It's very global. It's very world open. Yeah, and it's for doing culture, be it music or any kind of art. Uh, Zurich is the place to be in Switzerland.
I like it. Well, I thought I'd never go back to Switzerland after my first time going to Zug.
And now
I went
see
to
what
Geneva.
happened.
I
That's
went to
hardly
Geneva.
Switzerland.
Is it not?
No, it's not.
It's what?
No.
Geneva?
It's because it's like an island in France, and it feels very international. But that's only because I only know one side of it. I think if you live there, and
You're
you
telling me
know,
I didn't go to Switzerland when I'm pretty sure that was Switzerland.
I take it back because I know if you live in Geneva and you know the alternative scene there, I think there is like an actual Geneva, but the Geneva I know is very artificial.
Interesting. I feel like a lot of Switzerland feels artificial. Like Zug, I didn't go to Zurich, but it does feel like, I mean, it's pristine. Like there's no litter anywhere. You know, everyone's got like a way of doing something that you know you're just supposed to know how to do it. And then you come around to London, you're like, you walk down these streets in London, you're like, who's gonna take care of that mattress in the middle of the road? It's like,
but they do disappear as much as they appear. Those mattresses lately, in the last 48 hours, I've seen maybe 7 mattresses that haven't been there before.
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's public service for you because, you know, there's someone rolling around in a van right now just picking up anything they can find.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, I mean, it's different cultures, right? But I feel like, you know, maybe we take for granted the fact that we are just, you know, 8 million people in London just living in...
Yeah, the
you know,
same as Switzerland.
yeah,
The whole of
Swiss-
Switzerland.
Wow. So that's quite a cramped place to be in London and quite free in Switzerland.
It is absolutely amazing how whenever you go in London, there is a lot of people. Always, all the time.
Mad. And where have you lived in London? So, like, obviously we're in, I guess, where are we at now?
Manor House,
Manor House
Finsbury
right now?
Park.
Finsbury Park.
Seven Sisters.
So where have you lived then?
Only here, really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been to Swiss Cottage, finally, in the very beginning. That's in the west for a few weeks.
Because it said Swiss.
Exactly. I thought one by one.
Yeah.
No, I got myself a studio there with a little bed apartment.
Was there any
thing.
Swiss people there?
No, had nothing to do with it. And then from there on, I started to look for a warehouse and ended up here.
Wow, I love it, man. And this is the thing about these warehouses that, you know, once you're in them, it's very hard to want to live elsewhere again. I mean, trust me, I'd like a place with windows because right now it feels crazy. Your new place in Zurich's got windows, right?
Big one.
Oh my God, you lucky bastard,
Yes,
you.
I'll send you a picture, actually.
Oh my God, don't.
A
I don't
picture of
want
a
to see
window, you won't see anything.
Well, it's lovely because like, anyone that knows this particular warehouse knows that we have 0 windows in our bedroom. So you can literally wake up in the morning and suddenly it's like 6 p.m.
It
It's
kills
terrible.
me. It kills me. I
How
can't
did you
deal
get
with
over it when you were living here?
that day lamp, the daily the sun you could program.
Lumi? Yeah, the Lumi lamp.
Yeah, that was the thing.
But it doesn't really work the same, does it? Like, 'cause you don't hear I mean, you do
But
actually hear the birds tweeting, don't you? They have like a little shitty
Do
like,
they?
speaker.
I don't.
and I'm like,
I never used that. But yeah, it's not the same, but it's better than nothing. But I really need my portion of sunlight, and in the winter I feel like it's not enough, especially here. And then I will go to a studio with no window, be working there. Before you know it, you get out for a break and it's dark again, and that's just like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's terrible, man. I
that's
mean,
so
I saw a
depressing.
bloody poster on the tube the other day telling me, like, have I made sure to have enough vitamin D? And I was thinking, I live in a bedroom with no windows. Like, I'm freaking out
You can
right
get
now.
one of those like vitamin D lamps.
I've heard about these. I have heard about these. But look, I mean, I'm already kitted up to the teeth in here with all sorts of lights and stuff. Like, all of my lights turn on automatically at
I
like
know.
7 o'clock, which is terrible.
Yeah.
It's like a
Even
prison.
if you're not here.
Oh, even if I'm not here, which we found out because everyone thought I was here. But I wake up to music, the lights turn on, and Google basically just controls my life.
Yeah. They do anyhow.
Are you experimenting in the voice space, you know, with Google, Alexa, all this kind of stuff? Are you
No.
interested in it at all?
No. Creeps the hell out of me.
Really?
Can't even say it. Creepy stuff.
But it's interesting because actually I rely more and more on Google and, you know, to not manipulate my life, but to make my life easier, you know, and so...
Sure. We all do, actually, to a certain amount. If it's by voice or not, We all do, and we all send that data to them all the time.
Because what would you make if, as a composer and a producer, if I had to have a track, one track that was 24 hours long because I don't sleep now, or when I do sleep, could you make me a soundtrack for my life? Would you creatively know what I want to listen to at what points of the day? Because I know you're thinking about this, because this is going to be a game changer. The moment that we can kind of put on our little AirPods and it's like, "Good morning, Cameron." Don't know why it's American, but it's 7:55, and today you're doing this, this, and this, and then just plays like some chill music, and then it's like, and I'm getting on a bus that knows where I'm going, so it's like you're getting on the 165, and it's like do 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 do. And I don't know, is there a way that you ever feel we could be completely led by music?
We're very close to that. With the playlist Spotify is doing, like the weekly playlists they're doing, they are so freaking accurate.
It's good.
Yeah,
it is good,
it's
isn't
crazy.
it? It's taking what they think I want to hear and playing it to me, which makes it the stuff I want to hear.
Yeah.
Which then take the thing that they thought I wanted to hear and show me other things they thought I wanted to hear, which actually they're just controlling what I like.
Do they?
I don't know.
That I never looked at it that way. That makes it even more creepier.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Life is an algorithm, my friend.
Yeah, no, I know.
Life is a complete
I
algorithm
love
these
that.
days.
Life is an algorithm.
I like that. That should be the name of your next song. Yeah.
Think about it.
Our song, the one that we're going to collaborate on. I can't wait. Well, listen, dude. So what is it that Pablo Nouvelle stands for then? If I could give you a stage full of the world, what would you say to the world?
Oh, I'd have to talk to them.
You have to talk to them.
I can't just play music.
Ooh, I like that. Maybe you could play music. What would you play to the world if you had them all in front of you?
I'm gonna play a show actually in March.
To the world?
Yeah, to the world. Whoever turns up, everyone's invited.
Amazing. March, what date?
6th and 7th with a Kammerorchester, which means like an orchestra, but just like 4 people.
Interesting.
Pianist, how you say that in English?
Pianist, yeah, you got it right. Yeah.
And the percussionist, and it's gonna be something from like we're gonna play those piano pieces, but we're gonna take them to the next level, like in a very like thin, like acoustic rave kind of thing. We still have to figure it out. It's gonna be played in a bougie house in Bern. In a very nice venue. They were the initiator of the idea to bring us all together and to play those piano pieces.
Wow, exciting, man.
Yeah, that's
really
probably,
exciting.
That's maybe an answer to your question.
Yeah, so you'll do something collaborative. That's the number one thing I have to say. You are a collaborator. Like you're very you're a humble guy. But I think that's really nice, because you make others want to gravitate towards you and kind of work with you. And actually, this is kind of going back to the film stuff. This is why I love making movies, and kind of the reason I like the film scores and the soundtracks is because often a lot of the time, they will make they might write the music, on their own or something, the composer, but then when it's played, they get a bloody room full of orchestras, and I mean, is there any movies that stand out to you as like having just an awesome soundtrack? Something that I can go and listen to.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen any movies.
And this is it.
Yeah,
this is it.
Right.
Pablo Nouvelle doesn't listen to movies.
But I can tell you, go and watch Losers.
Okay, the TV show.
Absolutely crazy.
Okay,
also the animation is beautiful. The characters is mind-blowing.
It's amazing. I really like Interstellar. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack, and he used an organist. Who uses an organ these days apart from churches? But when you see the behind the scenes and they're like micing up all these organs, and Hans Zimmer's there with Christopher Nolan, like listening to this music being created. Do you feel like you'll ever go out and find? Because I think the reason why Christopher Nolan wanted that organist was because it was so true and raw, and you just can't get that sound on a little synthesizer.
Yeah,
is that something you want to do? Go off and actually find those experts and
the real thing. Yeah, definitely. That's also something I do. I work with a flute player from Zurich, and he has his self-made flute that is like 2.5 meters tall. and it's like a bass flute, and he can make noises that like your brain can't actually like cope with it because it doesn't know what it is because you haven't
Whoa.
heard those sounds before. It's something like a mechanical machine and an organ and yeah, it's
Jesus
super
Christ,
weird.
what's this instrument called?
It's a bass flute. He made it himself.
Bass flute.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
like that. I like experimental, people. That's it. You're an experimental collaborator. Mr. Pablo Nouvelle, everybody, an experimental collaborator. And that is what I take from being a friend of yours is just be experimental and collaborate with people. What happens if the collaborations don't work out? I mean, have they not worked out before?
I mean, usually if we go to the studio and you got one day, you'll end up with a song. It can be an exceptional song or it can be an average song, but usually you create something.
I like that. I like that because, on movie projects, you just give up, whereas actually, like, if you sit and start making music, that's it. You're making it. You could just be like, sounds shit, doesn't it? Yeah. Move on.
It can happen actually, but not very often.
So look, what are you working on right now? What are we waiting to hear? Have you got any plans for 2019?
19.
Oh shit, no, we are in 2019.
Yeah.
Have you got any plans for 2020?
Both, yes, actually. I'm gonna release 3 EPs within the next few months. One is already almost out. It's gonna be out in December. It's like a down-tempo electronica ambient EP, instrumental one. It's like 7 pieces, but they flow into each other, so it's like a mixtape a bit. And on the back of that, I'm gonna do up-tempo EP. That's gonna be out between like January, April. We're gonna do like song for song, and within that time, I'm gonna do another EP based on African samples from like the 70s.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool, man. And you got any shows coming up anywhere that we can
in
go
April?
see?
Yeah, that's yet to be announced, but we are planning to do a tour.
Can we have an exclusive? Are you allowed to tell us where you're going to be touring?
It's all Switzerland for now.
What?
Yeah.
What are you doing, lad?
That's where I got to play shows.
Oh,
Ever tried to play a show in London? It's hard.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard.
Why is it so hard?
Because it's just everyone's here. So many great artists, and no one willing to pay anything. So it's hard to like put on a show and actually be paid.
Interesting.
For it.
So Switzerland is your main fan base. Is that
yeah
correct? And what do you got to do to cut into the London and the bigger city sort of music scene?
Moving here in the first place, that was one thing, and then just go there and play again and again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, who do you like to listen to then? Who's the people that inspire you at the moment?
The name dropping thing.
Oh, you don't have to name drop, man. Like, you can just be the guy that does that music. Goes da 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 da.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me. I love that as well, man. I think he's an amazing artist.
Yeah. That one and the other one as well.
Oh, they did that. Yeah. I love that as well.
No, I'm really bad with names, and my mind just goes blank if I have to name.
Do you know what? That's the other thing, though, isn't it? Is that with the Spotify sort of playlist, like the shuffle,
it's a big problem. Actually,
I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah.
Massive problem.
And I've been heard by a lot of people who actually don't know me, so I get those listens, but that doesn't necessarily mean I got a fan base. I got people who are loyal to me, who would like turn up at my shows only because I'm on a big playlist, get a lot of plays. That doesn't mean like I'm a big artist.
I've got it. Subliminal messaging in your music. So you could be like, over the top of your like synthy noisy thing, you play
Pablo. We just recently did that actually. When we deleted it, it was too silly, but yeah.
It might work.
Yeah.
But this all comes back down to how easy it is as an artist to get your music out there, but how hard it is to be seen and to build this loyal audience.
Yeah.
But you're doing it. You're doing it well, and I think
I even do podcasts now.
You do podcasts?
Yeah, right.
Don't tell me this is the first podcast you've ever done.
It is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I mean, maybe you'll do more, mate, and it'll be more structured. There'll be more people asking you about, hey, Pablo, how did you ever get so amazing? You know,
As long as they do like that with the
yeah, they're gonna be like, and then you be like, go back to CamTalks and listen to that episode,
Yes.
and it's all there. It's all there.
I want to drop names now. Weevil. Weevil is amazing. Have you heard about Weevil?
Never heard of Weevil.
It's very warm, organic electronic music to guys from Belgium, I think.
Okay, I like Belgium. That's good.
Yeah, could be. They're amazing. And from the UK, what I really, really love is Maribou State. Similar universe of soundscapes.
Nice. Thanks for the name dropping. Maribou State.
Yes.
Maribou State.
Yeah,
I like
love
it.
actually.
Can I mean, I can follow your music on Spotify, right?
Yes.
Because that's still something I'm finding weird, is that I can see other people's, like, what they're listening to.
Right.
So I don't think that's quite been appreciated as much yet.
No, not at
Like,
all.
that's...
You mean you could follow me as a private person?
Yeah.
See what?
See what you're kind of listening to.
Yeah.
I find that quite a strange... it's an attractive idea to just stick on what someone else is listening to, but it's not really been... No one knows what it's called yet.
And then it's just there, and very little people have it activated. I think you have to activate it so people can see. So I only see it from like 2 people.
Interesting.
What they're listening.
Because I would assume that there's a lot of radio DJs or people out there that would be like, hey, like, not listen to my like playlist, but like just listen to me.
Listen to what I actually listen and not what I curate.
But we don't know we don't know how to call it. We don't know what it's called, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like follow my Insta or like follow my what?
My listens.
Spotify, sort yourself out, lads.
Yeah, really.
There's some innovation to be had here. I love it. Cool, man. Well, look, I mean, I always just kind of want to leave these episodes in your hands, really. You know,
Cool.
so our listeners are coming up to just over an hour now, and I'd like you to kind of, I mean, how are you, mate? Beyond the music and beyond, you know.
No, I'm really, really good. Really happy being back in Zurich. Actually, I met a lot of like old friends, caught up with them. It's really nice to. And then I come back here and I got like new old friends still being here and welcome me back in the family. I'm just really, really, really blessed with that life I got myself there.
Amazing,
Yeah.
humbling, man. It's you're a very humble guy, and it's nice to have you back here. Your energy is positive, positively great.
Yeah.
Positively great. I really
Good
like
vibes.
it. Good vibes. Good vibes.
bunch of
All
good
right,
vibes.
Mr. Pablo Nouvelle.
Thanks so much for having
Thanks
me.
for coming on the show.
It's been a great pleasure.
a great pleasure.
Oh.
I'm gonna have a bitch subtitling this.